Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee. Now in today's video, we are going to be looking at the Marshall head here, which is the DSL 15 head. Now these are no strangers to the metal scene. They've been around for many moons, and metalheads definitely have utilised and done a lot with these Marshall brand overall. One thing Marshall have done well in the past is they've handled low tuning guitars really well. So I've got my 7-string back there, which I'll be using later on because that's tuned to drop G. So most amplifier heads kind of struggle when you play deep notes. It kind of gets a bit muffled and hard to hear the clarity and to be able to find the notes. Where Marshall aren't too bad. So we're going to definitely put that to the test, and I've put it to the test. I was going to plug it in and play and you're going to hear it. But what I thought would be very cool for this video is I am keen to hear how it sounds when I give it a boost with my Fortin 33 pedal. Because it's going to be fun. So this pedal here is a boost pedal designed to boost the signal of an amp. So to give you a quick rundown, when you plug a guitar into an amplifier, the signal coming out of the guitar pickups are very small, and then it runs through the tubes here and makes it loud and makes it all sound nice and pretty and sparkly. Where they realised a while ago that you can actually boost the signal coming directly from the guitar straight into the amp, which in effect pushes the amp into extreme mode, for lack of a better term, and it can make some really cool and interesting sounds. So with the 33 pedal, it's got a slight EQ curve. So what they've done with this is it not only gives it a bit of a boost, but it cleans up a lot of, not really cleans up, it does. It cleans up the sound overall, but it does that by dropping a lot of the low frequencies. And especially when you've already got low tuning, you don't want too much low EQing there as well, because that's where it gets overly muddy, is the best way I can describe it, where this cleans it up. So yeah, I've used this pedal in a few videos, so I'm a big fan of it. So there's going to be no surprise there that while working with this during this video here, but I don't know how it's going to react to this Marshall head here. So I've hooked this up to my speakers in the other room using the 2 mic technique. If you don't know what that is, I highly recommend you check out my short video on it explaining where I put the microphones and why. We'll dial in a decent distortion tone just from this amp head, and then we'll give it a bit of a boost, turn them on and off, and see the difference. Let's see if this pedal is worth getting if you do have a Marshall head or not. You might be able to just get it straight off this, and this might not be worth it. Not worth it. You might not be able to utilize it as much as what I have with other equipment. So in all my videos, I like to do a jam. And in today's video, I'll do 2 jams. 2 jams of the one song. So firstly, I'll do the song, play through it with the pedal turned off, with a full band mix. So with drums, bass, and we'll double up on the guitars going left and right. And then I'll play the song back to back with the pedal turned on. So we can really hear a good comparison between the two. And then we'll have a chat about it afterwards. So in saying that, let's turn this on and start having some fun. Now we have everything set up, ready to go. So speakers are in the other room. So firstly, let's dial in a clean tone. Now there's 2 different channels on this. There's the classic gain and the ultra gain. How am I not going to go for the ultra gain? It's like a trick question. All right, so no sound. Let's turn the volume up a bit. Oh, starting to get some. That's a lot. So now we have some clean. But we want dirty. So let's get some gain happening. That didn't take long to get something cool. So as I was saying before in the intro, with these Marshalls, with the Marshall brand, I feel they handle the low notes really well. For example, you can still hear all the notes, not too muffly or too cloudy. So let's do a little bit of EQing, and then we'll go a little bit backwards and forwards. So, all right, there's two buttons here that I don't know what they do. So let's push them. So that's a tone shift. Not sure. I've got deep. So let's see what deep is. So the deep definitely adds a bit of an EQ shift. I mean, I say EQ shift, there's a tone shift there as well. But the deep definitely adds the low end dynamics. Turn it on. That's interesting. Let's turn it off for now. Let's just add a little bit of EQing. Let's get some mids in there. And some treble. Sounding good. Roll back the bass a bit. Get some presence happening. So I'm not minding that at the moment. So now I've got that there. Let's see what happens if I push the deep button now. I'm going to keep the deep button on. Because it adds a lot of the, I'm not sure exactly how it interacts with the amp, so as in the circuitry side of it. No idea. But the main thing is I understand the difference in the sound. And I feel like that's the only thing that's important as a guitar player and engineer. It just gives a lot more characteristics in the bottom end to get that chug when I'm muting those chords. So I'm going to keep it on for now. So before I muck around the 33 pedal, let me quickly show you the sound that we have out of the two different microphones. So The first microphone is the SM57, so the thin one. So I use this for more the high-end bite. And I'll put on the other mic, the E609. Very different. And then when I put them together, big difference, big difference. So that's why I like the two mic technique, so I can blend them both and get the best characteristics that I can out of my speakers, being the low dynamics and that high cut-through blade type of tone. So, talking about cut-through tones, the 33 pedal. So at the moment it's at 12 o'clock, so I'm going to put it all the way down to nothing. And if I turn it on, so we've got now we shouldn't have anything. I like how I still have to finish off the riff before I stop playing, even though there's no sound coming through. So as much as this is a boost pedal, you can also dial back it as well. Hence why when it's down to nothing, we get no sound. So let's put it at 12 o'clock, or high noon, as they call it sometimes, which is just straight up. Turn it off. Let's turn up a little bit. So now we're really getting to the territory of boosting it and pushing the signal. So it definitely gives it what is the best way to describe it? So it definitely gives it a push. It gives it a nice, especially with a 7-string, it just cleans up all those lower tones really well and gives the higher notes that bite that I love. So it's kind of like a bit of a jab punch whenever you hit the higher notes. So. Like, they're worlds apart. So now let's just do a quick comparison with chords. Playing wasn't the best, but as I say, we're chasing tones, not about the playing. It's about just capturing the right sounds that you want. And worry about proper playing when you record and perform. Now, I definitely noticed that there is a bit of a drop there's definitely a drop in the low tones because that's what this pedal's designed to do. But it definitely gives it a different type of aggression. It's hard to say if it's better or worse. I think both of these are really good. I think it comes down to preference of which one you prefer. I mean, we're in a really good position because we're starting off with a really good sound just off the Marshall. I should point to it with a small camera, sorry. Just with the Marshall head to start with. So then adding in the 33 on something that's already really good is just going to make it better. Rather than, as I've usually had to implement the 33, when something sounds really crap and I need to fix it and try to use it to save the day. So I think it's time now to do a bit of a jam because I could keep going backwards and forwards and just playing because it sounds cool and it's lots of fun, which is two really good ticks that you don't want to really avoid or veer away from. So I'll turn off the camera. I'll compose a little tune for the next 10-15 minutes. I'll record them both, one without the 33 pedal and then one with the Fortin 33 pedal turned on, so we can hear the difference, and then we'll have a chat about it afterwards. So yeah, in about 5 seconds, you shall hear the song. So I really, 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 really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you all on the other side. Time for my final thoughts on the Fortin 33 pedal matched up with this Marshall DSL head. So firstly, running through, before I turn this on, so I'll just put that out of the camera. So I felt this did really well just on its own. Its ultra gain setting that it has was always going to be chosen. I don't know why they gave it an option. It was always going to be picked. You got a chance between a more brutal sound compared to not as brutal. You're going to pick the brutal one because that's what we're into. That did really well. The presence on this really cleaned up the clarity of the sound. And it felt nice to play running through this. During the mix, the guitars I felt did get a little bit lost when I did the jam with just the Marshall head running through. So the guitars sounded really good. They definitely sounded good by themselves. But added into the mix, just got just a tad bit lost there with the toms and the bass guitar. Compared to when we added the Fortin 33. As soon as we added this, I felt like it added a lot more aggression to the guitars. And they definitely popped a lot more, as in popped through the mix. So I felt like you could really hear each defining note a lot more, which means you could pick up a couple of my mistakes when I had this plugged in compared to when I had it turned off, which is life. That's no problem at all. But I felt this definitely made a huge difference adding it to this already good distortion sound. I would have been super surprised if it didn't. But I also feel like after running this through and seeing how much of a big difference this Fortin 33 pedal made, I don't think you can get that same effect with just running what the amp has to offer in its EQ settings there. So I feel like you need not so much just the Fortin 33 pedal, but any type of boost or enhancing pedal to really help. I don't really say bring it alive because it sounds good by itself, but to help enhance it to get that punchiness that I definitely really like. And the example that I gave in the second version of the song that I jammed through. So next question I want to ask, not next question, the first question I want to ask. Actually, let's go through all the questions. I have a few. So first question, what was your opinion on the tones just when I had the Marshall running through? Did you like it? Do you think it was a little bit too bottom end heavy, or do you think it had a really nice level of bottom end there that sat, don't want to say evenly, comfortably, itself comfortably in the guitar tone? How did you feel when I turned this on? Did you think that when I put on the 33 that it was too much? Do you think it had too much bite? Do you think it took out too much bottom end? Or did you think it really did clean it up on how I heard it? And did you think it was enhancing it? Or did you think it was dehancing it and making it not as good and not as full and as wholesome as compared to when it was turned off? So I definitely want to get your opinions on that. And it's saying that the third question is, these boost pedals, not so much these boost pedals, but especially this one, dare I say the majority of boost pedals compared to distortion pedals or other styles of modulating pedals, they can be a little bit pricey. So my question is to you is, are they actually worth the price or not? Do you think this makes that big of a difference to the sound that it is worth getting one of these, or do you think these are a little bit too hyped? Because there is a big dividance in guitarist opinions, where their opinion is either lean towards the amp should be able to do everything you need it to do. If it doesn't, you have the wrong amp and you need to spend more money or differently in what you choose to actually purchase in your amp head. And you shouldn't need an enhancer. I call these enhancing pedals, but they're boosting pedals to make it better. Or are you the opinion of amp heads do really good, they do their own thing, but adding other things isn't a bad thing. It's just a different way of getting a sound. So I'm definitely keen to know your opinion on that because, as I said, it's pretty divided at the moment. And there's also the level of, what's the right way of putting it? There is buyer's remorse and there's buyer's justification. And they sometimes fit in together as well. But buyer's remorse is if you did buy something expensive like this and it's not your sound, so then you jump on the bandwagon of these are overrated. Or buyer's remorse where, buyer's, what was the terminology I used? Buyer's remorse and buyer's, I'll put it up on the text there because I can't remember. Justification, that's the one, where you do spend a lot of money and you want to justify the money that you spent, even though, let's say, for example, you bought it doesn't have to just be this Marshall head, any guitar head, and it doesn't quite have that exact push that it needs, where these things come in really handy. But because you spend so much money on it, Some people can just be blinded by the fact that they need something like this because money talks, and they think that not so much it should, but they convince themselves that the amp head is all they need, and that is it. Or vice versa, where they think that you have to have something like a boost pedal because they have that same mind frame where they bought it, so they try to say everything to justify their purchase. Which is why I like doing these type of videos where I can give a A-B comparison to say this is what it's like on, this is what it's like off, and what do you think? Personally, I love these type of pedals, especially this Fortin 33 because it's got that EQ curve that I love, and it really brings that bite and that punch in my guitar tones that I love. Not to say that everyone needs it, because that's what I love and that's my taste. And if anyone thinks that nope, they should just have straight off the amp because that was perfect as it is, absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The large part of it, I feel, comes from style. What style of guitar playing you're doing, and also kind of what style you're going for. If you look at some big acts, like Metallica in the early 90s, you wouldn't use one of these because they had they did the opposite. This does a mid boost where they were very big on scooping the mids out and getting rid of them. And they get that real bottom end heavy tone with their chug just from their amps. Now they had specific amps and settings and that, but as an overall rule, just for this conversation, they just got it from their amps. Where other bands that have more of a pop in their guitar sound and play a more, I don't know what the right terminology would be, a more modern type of grunt to their guitar, and ones that like playing in a lot lower tuning, like Meshuggah or other bands of that liking, or Ginger. Or there's countless numbers of bands I can choose. It just happens I'm wearing some merch. That makes it a lot easier to have these conversations. Yeah, these pedals would absolutely cater for their sound and their style that they play, for lack of a better term. So I kind of did a weird conclusion to say, whatever your answer is, it is correct. It's all mainly subjective to the situation that you've got it in. So that's going to be my fourth question, is do you think that statement's correct, or do you think there's something else that I'm missing? It's going to keep asking lots of questions. It's good. You can answer me. I'm just going to give you the information and you tell me. That works for me. Bit selfish, but it works for me. Yeah, it's about having the conversation and sharing ideas and different thoughts. That's what all my videos are about. So in saying that, I might as well do my sign off then, because I think I've babbled on quite a bit now. Whether this video is in the foreground or the background, I absolutely appreciate your company and being a part of these conversations. If you'd like to continue on these conversations beyond just what I've covered in this video here, I'll leave a link in the description below for my Facebook page where I do a lot of my chatting there. If you want to talk more about this video specifically and to reach out with the community and have more of a group conversation, please leave a comment below in the comment section. Leave a like. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you don't, I don't think any less of you. It's still fine. I'm happy that you've lasted this long and you're supporting me by watching these videos. If you know anyone else that might be interested in these videos, please let them know. And if you've got any other ideas for videos that you'd like me to cover, I'm always up for suggestions. In saying that, please, until next time, stay safe.